The verdict could come down at any time, so we are in standby mode. We are also learning a story. There was this horrific plane crash overseas. You might have heard about it. More than 200 people killed, but one man emerged as a survivor. The story really is incredible. That is coming up for you. Plus our poll question, chance for you to vote and let us know what your feelings are about this. The defense secretary is now saying that troops might be used in other cities to stop the violence. 75% of you right now are saying, good, look, if they can help stop all that, put them to use. 25% say no, using troops in American cities is wrong. Stop it now. You also have the option of, hey, let's wait to see what this judge rules today to see if what is happening is legal. So if you grab that QR code, you can vote in that poll question right now. In the meantime, let's get a look at what happened yesterday in court, and then we'll advance it forward with our own George Obi. Here's Justin Loam.
A jury of 12 finalized 7 women and 5 men. They now have the case, but it only took about 15 minutes for the group to decide it was time to go home for the day. They return tomorrow morning at 10 to continue deliberations. We've seen and heard from 18 witnesses. Evidence has ranged from cell phone data to surveillance footage, dozens of photos of the Jeep Wrangler, the suspect vehicle involved in the shooting on October 2nd, 2019. The alleged victim, Brandon Boudreaux, was driving home when a bullet missed him by inches, striking his Tesla. Investigators say Lori Daybell and her late brother Alex Cox planned the attempted murder, accused of using burner phones and removing the Jeep's back seat and spare rear tire so Cox could easily fire from the back window. At the time, Lori was living in Rexburg, Idaho, after she moved from the valley to be closer to her now husband, Chad Daybell. Brandon was in the middle of a divorce with his wife, Melanie Boudreau, who he says was heavily influenced by Lori, leading to the marriage's end. Here was Daybell's closing arguments and prosecutor Trina Kay's rebuttal.
We read the text from Brandon to me on June 25th, 2019, where he claims that he will never stop until he proves that I am responsible. Well, here we are, almost 6 years later, and I'm charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. In order to have a conspiracy, 2 or more people have to make an agreement to commit a crime. There is no such agreement between me and my brother Alex.
The defendant wants you to think that Brandon has it out for her. She has tried to insinuate that Brandon was involved with working with Detective Pillar for years just to get her. But what you heard was that Brandon has actually been working with law enforcement on multiple investigations. So again, as the defendant sits up here and tries to portray and paint a picture for you of her innocence and sadness and family tragedy.
Okay. And we welcome you now to George Obi, the producer who, along with Justin, has been following this entire case from start to finish. What were the surprises coming out of yesterday, George?
Well, I think twofold. One, that obviously Lori, once again, did not put up a defense. I think that, may have been expected by a lot of us, although we were, I think, anticipating of all the cases and all the things that she's been through, this would have been the one case where it might have helped her a little bit because this was the weakest of all the cases. So kind of surprised she didn't take that opportunity to take the stand. And then I thought the other, for me anyway, the other surprise was how emotional she got in her closing arguments. She did
Any perspective on that? I mean, you've watched her and the personality that she has.
I think part of it would be that she knows this is the end, and that this is all going to finish with her going back to Idaho no matter what. But I thought too that maybe she learned something from the last trial. There were a lot of obviously family members in the courtroom yesterday. it kind of shocked me because I'm like, there was no emotion in her closing arguments in the last trial when she was convicted of conspiring to kill her previous husband. So the fact that it's her niece's ex-husband in this case, but that led her to, kind of tear up in front of the mic.
So
I found that interesting.
Guilty or not guilty in this case, she knows that after this, after she walks out of this courtroom today or tomorrow, whenever it is, she now, her future is the rest of her life in a prison cell.
Yeah, none of that's going to change. And, barring appeals and that kind of thing with the two cases here, she's going to be whisked back to Idaho to serve the rest of her life behind bars. Yeah.
Celeste joins as well. Celeste, good morning.
Good morning.
Good chance for us to
George.
really pick George's brain here on what is going to turn out to be a potentially very eventful day.
Well, I think it's incredible that the jury already has the case. Don't you? Or did you expect it to wrap up this quick?
No, I mean, I think there's a part of us that are surprised. Remember, it was this time last week we were talking about opening arguments.
Exactly.
We're talking about that the Brandon had just taken the stand a week ago this morning to kick off this case. So yeah, I think it's a little surprising it was this quick. But if we learned anything from the last trial with the state's case, Trina Kay moves quick. Prosecutor Trina Kay knows what she's doing, and she clearly has a plan, right? She clearly has a directive of how she wants this case to go in both of these cases, and stuck to it. And she didn't call all of her witnesses in the last trial. She did not call all of her witnesses in this trial. And that shows you that the state feels really strong about what they presented to the jury in this trial. And so the jury has it. And, much like the last trial, we'll see if this jury can come back with a decision this afternoon.
I do have, Ron, if you don't mind, we do have like Angela Brockelman in the chat. She said, guilty. I don't think the jury is going to take long with their decision. I feel like you never know what a jury's going to do. But given the fact that Lori didn't call any witnesses.
If we learned anything from the last jury in the last trial, we learned that a lot of them took a lot of stock in the fact that she did not present a case. That was one of the things that stuck out to them. I think if we're all sitting as a jury, if we were all on the jury panel of any case and the defense didn't put a case up, we would all look at that and go, well, that's weird.
Yeah, right? It's very odd. It's like,
what am I doing here?
What do you mean you don't want to defend yourself?
Yeah,
what do you mean you don't want to call anybody? Does it also tell us anything about her psyche? Like, she's got to go back to Idaho anyway and serve time.
Well, and it tells us because we know who she is. We know what she's done, right? These 12 people, they don't, in theory, know what she's done previously. So if they did, maybe they would be less surprised. But yeah, it tells us a lot about not only who she is as a person, but also, and I think this is the obvious, is that she's obviously not a defense attorney, right?
Yes.
She's not an attorney. So to prepare a case and to prepare a defense, no experience in doing so. So not really a surprise there. But I think, as we learned, that holds a lot of weight with the jury, that she did not put up a defense, and we'll see if that affects their decision.
Who knows? That could be the very first, you can't talk about it in the jury room or amongst yourselves until like right now.
Deliberation.
And maybe that'd be the very first thing if you're on that jury, like, well, what about the other side?
Right.
Yeah,
I know.
really
And I think it's hard for some people to imagine. We had somebody in here say, you guys are doing a great job, George and Justin. And they said, where's Justin? And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we're in this YouTube streaming studio space, but just like 20 feet away, Justin's there, and George will be there in a quick moment to answer your questions and to watch what's happening.
And so we are grateful for your time and always really good perspective from George.
Thank you, guys.
So don't let Court TV steal you away.
No.
Please stay here at Fox
Or
10.
Judge Judy, for that matter.
Sure.
I might be going for her job.
Want to be the bailiff in that,
I can be the bailiff, sure. Yeah, I can put on a uniform, absolutely.
All right, George, thank you
guys.
very much. And we are just going to move on to a couple more of our big stories this morning. And the protests have now really come to Arizona. Not so much here in the Valley, but did you see what happened yesterday in Tucson? I'm going to roll it here because things did start to get out of hand. Again, it starts peacefully, but there's some reports that there are just agitators who are almost pushing protesters who don't like President Trump's immigration policies to take it that one step too far. These are look at this. Look at them just picking up rocks, trying to throw it into, I believe this is the ICE offices. They're in Tucson trying to break windows, spray painting walls. And then when you pick up any kind of a projectile and throw it at the head of a police officer, you're committing a crime right there that is very serious. And if they catch you, and prosecute you, you could be looking at several years behind bars. So we are told that a couple of people were detained on scene there. Let's transition to what happened overnight here in Seattle. Things also got out of control where police tried their best to clear out a big bunch of protesters that eventually started a fire right in the streets of downtown Seattle. There was once again protesters out there throwing rocks and bottles at officers. I just don't get how you don't get the message. It's not advancing your cause to try to hurt or kill a police officer with a projectile. You never know. If you've got a rock that weighs whatever, 3 pounds, you're going to throw it toward the head of an officer, the kind of trouble that you could create. And yet, we see in Los Angeles, with this curfew in effect, the mayor there speaking out, and here's what she had to say.
A week ago, everything was peaceful. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place.
And so our poll question today, as we show you some of kind of what's been going on, there have been training exercises, but at the same time, there's been violence in the streets. The curfew appears to be working somewhat in LA, and we would love to get your opinion on this whole concept that the use of troops could spread nationwide. Right now, it looks like most of you are in favor of that idea if they're required, not really buying Gavin Newsom's Celeste speech where he almost teared up a couple of nights ago talking about the end of democracy before our very eyes.
Well, I think there's I know we have to go to break here in a few moments, Ron, but I think there's a bigger reason for the curfew. I mean, there's your First Amendment right is that you can protest and demonstrate, but they don't want to hurt local businesses and looting, which is what is happening.
All right. We'll take a break. Be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we are. This is your mystery camera. We know we didn't give you a ton of time to take a look at it before.
But our viewers are so snappy.
They're
and
very
so
smart.
with it.
They're witty.
And they're chatting, but at the same time, they're looking at their screens. And so the question is, do you guys have, this is obviously a college campus somewhere.
Yes.
And where would they have a kind of a cool looking, I don't think you can call that a dome. I guess it's just a gym.
A gymnasium.
It's a gymnasium. Correct. Is that the word you use when you go to work out and you're saying goodbye to Gary and the kids?
Hey, kids, I'm going to the gymnasium. Honey, I'll be back from the gymnasium.
Oh, that's great. All right. Now that we've popped it up on screen, if you guys are wonderful guests, have any kind of a viewpoint on this. Oh, hey, one other thing. We're going to be talking about where you go for the best French fries in the whole valley. And if you're out of the valley, you just tell us where. Where's the number one best place for French fries? That's a chat for later, but you can join us in the chat. But right now, if you've got your guesses, Celeste, what are we seeing out there so far?
We are waiting to hear from people. They're still kind of waiting to. Lil Philosophy says, I'm thinking somewhere in Kentucky. Ooh. And by the way, while some of you chime in, Brenda B is in Guam. She's one of our newest Fox 10 talks.
Okay,
chatters.
Brenda, we welcome you. And seriously, I think you might be our first commentator. This is all one big family, what we're doing here. You guys can control the direction of what we talk about and how long we talk about it. But that's so great to have somebody on Guam. You can give us the weather report today.
I asked her, I said, what are you doing there? She said, I'm a contractor supporting the Air Force. I grew up watching Ron. Looking good, sir. Oh. And then someone said, yeah, Ron doesn't age. Low Philosophy said that. Oh, my goodness. So anyway, she's loving it there.
That's so great.
And thank you, Brenda, for hanging with us. Okay, so S. Marino 19 says Georgia. Patricia Randolph, Tennessee. Susan Anthony, Kentucky. Louis Gonzalez, Alabama. Frankie D says Kentucky. Linda Monter says Ohio. Sherry Nevada Pub says South Carolina. You guys are awesome. Bree says Virginia.
Yeah, what are you going to go with, Celeste?
I'm going to go with, can we pop it up one more time, Ron?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, so.
This is like, could you use it in a sentence?
Can I phone a friend?
At this point, we're not stalling.
I'm going to go North Carolina.
North Carolina, and I think I'm going to go. I've only been there once, and it was like 30 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm visualizing it might be Bloomington, Indiana.
Ooh.
Because they have a gym that I think has that kind of a domed roof.
Hold on 1 second. We were just in Bloomington looking at IU with my daughter.
So, anyway, that was the first thought that popped into my head.
That's a good
Does that
idea.
look like?
But the gymnasium there is like made out of, it's right next to the football field.
Yeah, the football field would be over to the right.
Okay, so I'll go Indiana with you.
No, I'm sorry. I have to accept your first answer, Celeste.
North Carolina.
No, it was Alaska or something.
Okay, I'll go Alaska. All right, let's go with your answer.
All right, here she is, everybody.
Well, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Are you kidding me?
You were on to something, though, when it came to the college campus.
Yes, right?
Right?
Okay. I have been to Tuscaloosa once, and the weirdest thing there is they were talking about that there was going to be a tornado warning like the next morning.
Right.
But Renee and I are walking around the campus like it's the most beautiful evening you could ever expect.
And the president's mansion of the university is right next to the stadium.
Correct.
He's got like 10 black SUV limos that follow him around.
Is that
everywhere.
right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the president of the United States only travels with 4.
And that's cool. But
3.
this is even cooler. We got Big D.
Big D. Big D.
Yeah. You guys are great.
We need the Fox 10 jingle makers to come out with a new jingle.
Yes.
Big D on the scene. What, Dave, are you seeing? Do people have opinions today?
They do have opinions, very strong opinions, and we appreciate opinions of all sides, so please keep them coming. A few standouts. FH2135 says, the people that support military deployment into the cities either don't live in cities or have no idea what that truly means and will quickly change their mind once it's too late. Ocean Girl 505 says, if a particular state isn't effective in stopping mass violence, no matter the reason, the federal government can step in to help protect American citizens. No matter one's political leaning, this mass violence, not a peaceful protest, hurts our citizens, physically, emotionally, and financially. And last but not least, Robert Kurtz 6691 says foreign nationals are rioting. Oh, come on now. Are rioting in U.S. streets, waving foreign flags. Anyone who doesn't think this needs military attention has their heads in the sand.
Oh.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
well, at the very end there, I was afraid you were going to say has their heads in a different location.
Up their rear?
Celeste! Have you ever noticed how I walk up to the line and Celeste just jumps over it, Dave?
Well,
Have
I
you ever
just wanted
noticed
to
that?
make sure I understood you correctly.
Okay, I don't know the live source here, you guys. So, Glenn, I'm going to let you bring it up.
I think there's a reporter. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a
Button?
reporter, but I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I see Fox Report.
Yeah, there you go.
Holy cow, Glenn is amazing. He's our
You're the man,
director.
Big D.
Hey, we are going to bring up. Mario Ramirez.
Mario apparently is not in front of the camera just
Okay.
yet, so we're going to wait on Mario.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's ready. All
Should
right,
we go out there?
Let's go.
Mario, you have an interesting angle. Thanks for joining us out here in Phoenix today on Fox 10 Talks. You do have a really interesting angle that a lot of folks haven't explored yet when it comes to these protests.
Yeah, Ron, Celeste, good morning to you. We're in the city of Whittier. This is about 15 miles southeast of downtown Los Angeles, where we still have that overnight curfew for now the third night here coming up. We can tell you that protesters were initially planning a demonstration at a Home Depot, and that quickly took a turn once they got word that ICE agents were staying here at the Doubletree Hilton in Whittier. Now, I want to show you the police response. We have some video, the activity that we saw here early this morning, because there were more than 100 people out here demonstrating. They started blocking the hotel entrance, chanting, waving flags, and making as much noise as possible before police eventually broke that up with the help of sheriff's deputies here in LA County. So those protesters say the demonstration was initially planned at a Whittier Home Depot until social media posts surfaced showing footage of ICE agents here in the parking lot. That led to a growing crowd with some tagging the hotel building, breaking a window, and damaging at least 3 vehicles with California exempt plates believed to be used by ICE agents to carry out those ongoing raids here in Southern California that we continue to see. And this was one of 3 hotel protests. Others we saw in the city of Downey, Glendale, and there was also reports of another at a hotel in Orange County in Santa Ana. And if we come back out here to our shot, again, this is at the Doubletree Hilton in Whittier. You can see one of 3 vehicles that was tagged there. It says ICE. We've been very careful this morning because there have been a lot of expletives with the amount of graffiti all over this place. So a lot of it's been cleaned up. And we checked with the hotel. No confirmation at all that any federal agents, ICE agents, are staying here on the premises. And we can also tell you with all those overnight protests at hotels, there were no reports of arrests or any injuries, which is fortunate. For now, that's the latest here in Whittier. I'm Mario Ramirez. Ron and Celeste, we'll send it back to you.
You know, we see some of those business owners, of course, that are real concerned about the looting. What have you heard from some of the business owners or small businesses there in Whittier?
Well, we know they're preparing for more unrest. We saw a lot yesterday boarding up businesses in the downtown area, and that's where that emergency curfew is in effect for a 1 square mile area. And we know that there have been more than 20 businesses since the start of these demonstrations that have been looted. And this started on Friday, so tomorrow this will mark a full week as local law enforcement is preparing for more of that activity, unfortunately.
Mario, I gotta say, I think this is a really interesting strategy on the part of protest organizers, which is basically to almost diffuse the protest groups.
Right.
They're like, okay, well, if all of the National Guard and LAPD and everybody else is focused on downtown, let's get out to the suburbs. I mean, have you heard about? Was there a lot of law enforcement on any of these scenes?
You know, local law enforcement did respond to this hotel demonstration, but it did take them a while because LA County and LAPD, they've been requiring other neighboring agencies to move into that area. And again, they had a curfew for the last 2 nights. So once that was in place, we saw a lot of demonstrators breaking out into other neighboring cities like Whittier here, which we saw overnight.
Okay, Mario, great report. I understand exactly, what they're doing and trying to I guess, basically stay one step ahead of the law, because think about Southern California. We got 5 million people, Celeste, in Phoenix. Mario, thanks again for your time.
Have a great day, Mario. Thank you. Be safe out there.
But if you think about it, Celeste, we got 5 million people here. Our metro area stretches from Surprise to Queen Creek and Santan.
Right.
I mean, that's, as the crow flies, that's probably 50 miles across.
Yeah.
Southern California is even bigger. These protesters could show up in different locations every night. It would take a long time for the law to catch up with them.
Well, and I think, sometimes people think, I was watching, Ron and I were just chatting, and I was watching some of the coverage on Rumble last night, of all places. But I saw there was one man who had it aggregated maybe 6 different videos on one screen, and it was Seattle, Spokane, Whittier, Los Angeles, and I think it was in Tucson. It was a couple of different spots, but you could watch all of the videos at one time.
Wow.
And so,
okay.
and you could, Portland was another one, and you could hear people in the background, and I don't think they understood. They thought that people wanted to stop them from protesting. Protesting is your right. You can demonstrate. But I think that the point was that you don't want to hurt the small businesses that are supporting your community.
Think it through.
Or it's the looting, I think, and the damage that's being done to the businesses that even LA Mayor Karen Bass, that's what she's trying to do.
Well, all right. It's interesting because we're following this court case today where Gavin Newsom versus Donald Trump. Can you take those National Guard troops and send them in? Can a president do that or not? But there's also a battle going on between President Trump and Gavin Newsom on gas-powered cars. This is fascinating. The president just signed, as we show you some of the video here, the president just signed an executive order ending California's ability to overrule the federal government and set its own car standards. They've been doing this for decades. Yeah. Apparently the way it works is you get a waiver from the federal government, and the feds have just allowed that to be the situation for literally years and years. The president says, look, the waiver's coming to an end. I'm signing this executive order. We're still going to have car choice in this country, meaning if you want to buy an EV, you can, but to follow California's law of outlawing gas-powered cars for sale, new cars, in about 10 more years, he said that's not providing enough choice. So, interesting, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
All right, let's take another break. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. It is Syleste Rodriguez and Ron Hoon, and
Hello.
a chance for us to visit with you. And just a little reminder. Oh, Syleste, I was going to have you just check and see if we have any other new viewers today besides our great new viewer in Guam.
Yes,
this is
Brenda.
Fox 10 Talks, and it's Brenda B, right?
Brenda B.
Brenda B, we love you. We're glad you're here, and keep on chatting with the gang in the chat box if you see anybody else new, or just spot some fun comments. But one more time,
yes,
if you have an opinion on the best French fries anywhere on the planet, you can tell us in the chat box. We're going to be chatting about that.
The verdict, Ron, is in for Lori Vallow.
Oh,
I just heard.
Okay.
So we're going to try to, of course, bring you some new information on that.
Okay.
Because the verdict is in. The jury, she
Yes.
didn't call any witnesses.
Correct.
On the defense.
Right.
And so we have, Ron and I are here, but just about 10, 15, 20 feet away here, Justin and George Obi are actively listening to the case.
Okay.
And Big D just said, hey, we have a verdict now.
Okay, and I'll just punch up. We do have on, I think it's ENG 23. Let me just look here. I think we have the live view from the courthouse. I'll just let you guys call it up on 23. There is the court complex in downtown Phoenix, and we will be in standby mode right now.
We do have a couple of people chiming in the chat box as well, Ron.
Yeah.
By the way, hello to Regina Alexander all the way from Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Nice.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We do have as well this morning a couple of comments. Raina Ray Johnson says, guilty she will be. Brenda B says, yes, Raina, she needs to go back to Idaho. Lil Philosophy says, verdict is in. And Boynton Clune says guilty. And we have a couple of thoughts on the French fries, Ron.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Syleste, I love how you can transition. Go for it.
We're talking votes here this morning. We've got seasoned waffle fries from Frankie D. And we have also the best French fries are from Mickey D's from Patricia Randolph. Christina here chiming in. She says, newbie here. I always watch, but never participated. McDonald's fries and chocolate milkshakes, my guilty pleasure. Lil Philosophy says, Wingstop. They have sugar on them, apparently. Their French fries have a little sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
Real quick, also, in the chat box, if anyone wants to weigh in on the trial coverage, there is a poll question that we just posted in the chat box. A big thank you to Big D. I think Dave may have posted that in there as well.
Can I pull that up right now? Let's just see if
the poll question.
I think the poll question. We still are operating the other poll question. We got plenty of options for you. We'll let you know.
And I believe we do have, Dave, if you can hear us, do we have a delay on the stream on the verdict as well? I know that we have about a 30-minute delay throughout the case. You know, Justin and George Obi, they've done such a great job covering the case.
Yeah.
It's been incredible.
So we'll just be in touch with them. Like Syleste was mentioning, we need one more camera so we can show you guys. But it is literally, like you said, about 20 feet away. And once a verdict is reached, just so you know how that process, you got to get all the relevant participants into the courthouse.
Back into the courtroom.
And that could take a while.
Yes.
So, but anyway, we're going to monitor it closely.
That was very quick, though, Ron.
It was extremely
very quick.
I mean, they went into the jury room at 10, and here we are at 10:30. Boom. But we are also going to salute, and we actually run stories like this quite a bit. So often I hear people say, well, I don't really watch the news because it's all bad news. You've heard that correct.
20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
Right. Yeah,
Thank you.
20 minutes.
20 minutes?
15 minutes to deliberate.
Oh.
Okay. Justin just telling us 15 minutes of deliberation.
Yeah.
And the verdict will be read in 20 minutes, so hang with us. That would be at about 10:53 this morning.
Yeah.
Gives us a chance to kind of catch our breath. And, of course, we will keep a very close eye on that courthouse. But, Syleste, like I was saying, people say, oh, I don't watch the news because it's all bad news. Well, I know this. On Fox 10 Talks, that is not the case, because this story of survival and heroism, I think, is my favorite story of the day. So you had a police officer there in New York State come upon this scene at the same time a Good Samaritan did, and they had that one door that they were able to reach through. Or wait a minute, that was the sunroof. that they pulled through to get her. There's the officer, and there are a couple of additional Good Samaritans who just happened on the scene. This poor lady, her car had rolled, and it was engulfed in flames.
Oh,
I don't know
goodness.
if you saw the first maybe 10 seconds of this video, but we're watching a life be saved right before your very eyes. And not clear what led up to the crash, but as the couple of the Good Samaritans and the officer were rushing toward the woman in the car, it looks like they literally managed to get her out from the from the moonroof. Just incredible.
That is so wild.
There
Look at
it
that.
is.
Well, and it's buried in kind of the middle of that grassland. And so you can imagine it's probably going to, if they didn't get to it soon enough, it would have spread.
And I think without that fire extinguisher, they just felt like they couldn't get any closer.
Incredible.
Wow. I mean, and there she is, and a life is saved, and our police up there in upstate New York
Thank
doing a
you.
great job. By the way, she lived through the whole situation. She's in stable condition in the hospital up there in New York. Now, there is another story this morning that is shocking, but at the same time is like a miracle. Celeste, I'm just going to move over here a little bit. I feel like
You're going to adjust, Ron?
I tried to slide a little too close over to your personal space.
That's okay. I'm all right.
There has been a survivor in the plane crash in India, which frankly is just, it's incredible because some of the, we don't have a lot of video. I'm going to share with you what we do have. But the plume of smoke, when that plane went down, and the original reports was that it was feared that every single person aboard had died. But now we hear that Ramesh Viskawash Kumar was able to literally unbuckle his seatbelt and walk out of there alive and basically unharmed. Just incredible. By the way, he's 40. He's a British national of Indian origin, and he was seated in a specific seat. I'm going to tell you the seat number here in just a moment, but just as background, this was Air India flight AI-171. It was a Boeing Dreamliner, and it crashed shortly after takeoff from one of the major airports over there. Despite being surrounded by the wreckage, he survived the disaster, and they say that police found the one survivor. He's been found in the hospital and is under treatment. He literally unbuckled, walked away, and got help to get to the hospital.
That really is unbelievable because
Isn't
in
it?
situations like this, Ron, usually it is the black box in the plane, and that's all we have to go on in terms of, or maybe there's somebody in one of the the air traffic controllers who has access to what may or may not have gone wrong.
And every so often, when there is one survivor in a plane crash,
Yeah.
it's happened, people are curious, well, where?
We're glad.
This one
Yeah,
happened to
he
be in
survived.
seat 11A, the 11th row over by the window on 11A. Now,
Yeah.
why somebody in 11B or C or D or E didn't survive, we don't know, but that was an exit row.
Wow.
So what role that played, or just literally a roll of the dice, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it almost gives you chills to think about that somebody was able to survive it. All right, on to our next story now, where again with the good news. We'll let the other stations be the ones that get you all worried.
By the way, Frankie D says, I don't bite, Ron, so you can kind of inch close into my space anytime you want.
Frankie D, now behave yourself.
We've got a lot of comments about the French fries.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
That's coming up in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
But first, Lucid Motors is one of the great success stories in the world of electric vehicles. And they just opened their first Phoenix location.
Mm-hmm.
They held a big event. By the way, it's around 40th Street and Broadway in the building that Nikola Motors used to be.
Nikola.
And it's pretty interesting what they had to say as they were rolling out this latest location.
When you look at this building, you think it's an office space, right? But in actual fact, it has dynos, it has battery testing facilities. It's set up as a hub to be able to do product design.
In some ways, this feels a little bit like taking lemons and making lemonade. It was a tough situation for a while.
You're sort of the last man standing at this point of these EV companies. Should Arizonans be fearful about the future of Lucid?
No, I don't think so at all. When you see the products and you get to experience them for yourself, you know why people want to buy Lucid.
Okay, really interesting. Keep in mind that they built a factory in Casa Grande, and that's probably why we don't talk about them as much if their facility was right here in Phoenix. But now they have this, I guess basically it's a showroom / office. And when they built it a few years back, $700 million and about 1 million square feet with the capacity of as many as 370 to 380,000 vehicles a year. So I don't know if they're watching or not, Celeste, but I do know I think they're on the cusp based on all the reviews of really achieving some great things. But I think their lowest price model is around $70,000.
Oh,
what they need to do is figure out a way to get one of their vehicles with that quality that they have at $40,000 or less. I think that's sort of the cutoff point. And if you can do that, and then you're competing with Tesla, and you have that quality that Lucid is known for, I think it'd be a home run.
You know, I think you even have to get lower than 40.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to get closer to like a $30,000 base model.
Yeah.
And then you can add on certain things and people can pay more for what they desire. You know what I mean?
Oh, gosh, yes.
It's like,
right?
Because people, they're having, like some people have lost their jobs. We've had layoffs.
Yes.
Some people need to buy a car and that's too much money. It's too expensive.
It is. I know. Some of these car prices are out of control. But anyway, that's our nickel's worth of advice.
Ron?
Yeah.
Nicola.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. For those of you who don't remember the cough drop commercials from like 12 years ago, Ricola.
Oh, yeah, Ricola.
Okay. Hey, let's talk a little bit about French fries now. We promised we would, and you guys can be sharing your comments, so let's jump right in. There's a brand new survey nationwide for the best French fries. Guess what was number one? Off the top of your head.
I'm going to go In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is number one.
Okay.
And you see them chopping those potatoes like 1 minute before they get to you.
I think that is what some people, it's very divisive, the In-N-Out, because some people think they're kind of bland.
Really?
Other people really love them.
Oh, I love them.
I do too, but I think it's also the fact that you see them cutting them, like you mentioned.
They're fresh and
right
hot.
there. Yes.
But the rest of this list might surprise you guys. And so as we take our next break, stick with us. We're going to read some of your comments. We are going to check in at the courthouse to try to get you that verdict. That's coming up, we believe, within about 10 or 15 minutes. But right now, we will take a break and continue the French Fry Chat. Back, and this is Fox 10 Talks, accepting new viewers from around the world today. And Syleste and I are here every morning at 10 a.m. We cover the most interesting stories of the day. Sometimes they're the heartbreaking stories. Sometimes they're just the fun ones that people want to talk about.
And sometimes they're the tasty ones, like French fries.
Okay, what do you see? Our question for you is, where do you get the very best French fries? What do you see?
So Richard Maury says Del Taco fries are delicioso.
I have never had the fries at Del Taco. Wow.
Me neither.
I do know they have amazing salads. People don't give enough credit to them for their salads.
Okay, salads.
Okay.
Ron, I don't go to Del Taco for salads, but I will try it next time I'm there.
Well, so what are you going to do? Where are you going to get your salad in a hurry?
That's hard. I mean, maybe like a Wendy's, they have a good salad, or maybe like if I go to Del Taco,
Salad and Go.
Salad and Go is really good, and you get free protein.
Yes,
It's
right.
really
the
good.
free protein.
Okay, so we got Red Robin. Red Robin has bottomless fries.
Yes.
How great is that?
Yeah. One of the better inventions of the last 20 years.
And I haven't been there in a while, so in full transparency, but they usually have this spice on the table, the French fry spice.
Okay, yeah.
It's almost like a Cajun-y type,
Correct.
And you could just put that on and load it up.
You know what, Celeste? I'm going to give everybody the rest of the list. So here we go. We told you In-N-Out is number 1. It's actually followed number 2, Shake Shack.
Oh.
Number 3 is Freddy's Frozen Custard. Now, we have one of those just off the Superstition Freeway in Mesa. And it used to be, believe it or not, one of my dad's favorite hangouts. He's like, let's go to Freddy's. Yeah.
Aww.
So we would go there, and I don't remember their fries. I know they have amazing milkshakes, that's for sure. Anyway, they're number 3. Then Bojangles.
Which we're getting one here.
Correct.
They're not here yet,
and I
but they're
predict
coming.
it'll turn into 20 within a couple of years after that. We're such a hot market. And then number 5 is Chick-fil-A.
You don't like Chick-fil-A?
Well, the waffle fries.
Yeah.
It's more of a, I don't know. It's just like a mashup.
I mean, I know Five Guys isn't on here either, but I do.
like
I love
those.
Five. It's so greasy.
So
It's
do you see any
good.
consensus from people in the chat?
I saw a lot of Red Robin.
Okay,
we saw
that's
some Mickey
great.
D's. Paul Paglia says Shake Shack fries are really good. And Christina, I love your comment. She goes, I love how the most comments are on French fries priorities. If food is your love language, we're here to help love on you.
Friendliest chat on the internet.
Yes.
I think we need, by the way, to copyright that phrase.
So,
It's so true.
Listener Raina Ray Johnson, 3 weeks ago, I was watching you guys from Maui. Oh my gosh, I so miss it. I'm fiending to move to Hawaii. I love In-N-Out animal style fries. Have you ever had animal style, Ron?
That's with the cheese over the top?
It's
is that
like
what it
their
is?
special sauce, and then they do some grilled onions.
Ooh, no, I got to go down
and
that route.
they always serve it with a fork because and in like a little.
It's a meal in itself, and you get some protein.
It's good.
Okay. Here is a question that you may have never even thought about before, but we're going to answer it right now. What happens when an NYPD officer gets fed up with life in the big city and says to himself, I'm moving somewhere else, somewhere where the living is better and the crime is lower?
Fiji.
And yet you go, right? So he moves to Florida. But then he gets his official welcome. I'm sure all the rest of the guys in the back at HQ were kind of getting a chuckle out of it, because here he is on his very first gator call. We actually have the video. So let me just roll it here.
They serve it all time. All right, no, wait. Let's talk about how we're going to do this. Yeah, do not trust me. Okay, you'll take the gator. First, hold on.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
Hold him tight. Say,
Now what? Now what?
Oh, my
look at this.
goodness.
He's like trying to practice his Zen or something. Okay, please don't eat me.
He's sweating.
Give him back if you want to. I'm taking.
Oh
my
God.
You know what? We could just air this for the whole rest of the show. I just love his tough guy. You know, he's like, okay, here, I'm in my game.
He's got his whole
Here
uni
it
on.
comes. Here it comes.
Hold
right.
on.
Good. Yeah. That was the new officer screaming.
Oh,
he said.
My gosh.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, by the way, the footage shows the officer handed the gator with his mouth taped shut. He's not going to eat you or bite you or anything like that. But back at the police HQ, they said that he seemed to handle it like a seasoned pro.
Yes, he did. And by the way, Paul Paglia in the chat says Largo, Florida isn't far from him.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
And I'm asking you, Paul, in the chat, do you have a lot of gators? Because I do remember we have some friends in Florida, and they have, instead of pull fences, they've got these nets. And maybe they're for bugs. I don't know. But I always imagined that people had swimming pools with nets all over them. Maybe they were also for gators.
Well, I can tell you this. Big mama gators and big daddy gators, they all start off as baby gators.
They do. That is so true.
Wait till you see this video.
This is like the facts of life, Ron.
Well, wait till you see the video.
Birds and the bees.
Okay.
How does it all begin?
Yeah, okay. That will be Syleste on a different show. Maybe a late at night show.
That's a great one, the birds and the bees. At midnight, every night.
With Syleste. Presenting the birds and the bees with Syleste. Oh, brother. Anyway, let's roll it. These are baby gators. Have you seen this video yet?
No, I don't think I've seen it.
I think you're going to love it. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
They look like little lizards.
Look how sweet they are.
Guys out on a golf course.
Oh my gosh.
In Florida, of course. And we never were able to figure out where Mama Gator was, but she had to be close by.
Oh my goodness.
But I think it actually maybe confused the little baby gators. There's like, where's Mama
Oh my gosh,
Gator?
there's like 15 of them.
Gee whiz. Yeah, This guy staying in the golf cart, which was a smart move for sure.
Oh my, there's a close-up look. Look at them.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah.
So are these all the gators that are obviously going to end up in the ponds on the golf course?
I think they're headed
This
over
is
to
their
the
home.
pond, except these
Wow.
errant ones are headed over to hole number 9. Who knows? But dozens were spotted on the golf course in Clearwater. But experts say they may be cute now, if you can call that cute, but they grow 4 feet in their first year of life. So
that is crazy.
Just be thinking about that.
That is wild, Ron.
Yeah.
We have David Esquivel, who's joining us from Little Frisco, Clifton, Arizona. This morning.
Okay.
Husky Mom, good morning to you. Late to the chat this morning, she said. Paul said he hadn't seen any gators in person because I asked him, he said, I did see one on the side of the road, though, driving by.
Oh, okay.
Probably moving a little slow.
Since we're in the animal kingdom right now, Syleste, let me just ask you a quick question. Is it appropriate or not to sleep with your dog or your cat right in the bed? Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
You finally have a chance to express how you feel about this because this was Syleste's story of the day.
Yes, it was.
But Syleste is such a mystery wrapped in an enigma.
Really?
That we really don't know most of the time what she thinks. Yes or no, let Fido or the kitty cat sleep in the bed with you?
No.
Really? No.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Although when I met Gary, his dogs did sleep with him.
Oh,
and
yes.
I was like, it's either them or me.
Okay.
'Cause
now, did he give it one of these? Let me think about it for a while.
Actually, he's like, give me a couple of days. That's what he said. No, but here's the thing, I think, is that it's like, especially if it's a fur baby and their fur gets everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have 2 big Aussies, and they sleep at the feet of on the ground.
Well, here's why we're talking about it. Some people may not care, but sleep experts are stepping forward to say sleeping in the same bed leads to you getting a much worse night's sleep than what you actually think you're getting. You're probably doing more tossing and turning than you realize because every time they move around, you probably move around. And by the way, if part of their all-night routine is 2 or 3 trips outside to go to the bathroom,
right?
You have to get up with them. Right?
That's so true.
So they recommend trying to put your pet on the floor of your bedroom at night. But if you're already stuck in this cycle, I don't think that's going to work. There's going to be a lot of whimpering.
Well, you're going to have to, do it for the remainder of the life of the animal.
Yes.
Or the vice versa.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You can't change that with an animal.
Okay, we have coming up here in about 60 seconds either Ty or Anita, whoever wants to come in. But we're going to close out our hour with Syleste.
Yes, Ron.
You are a weather expert.
I am.
Okay. I never knew what this type of cloud formation was called.
Oh.
But it's we can reveal it now.
Okay, it's a shelf cloud.
Oh, I know you knew that. Because
Ron,
what?
you said I was a weather expert.
Correct.
So I don't know, but I mean, a birdie told me in my ear.
Was there someone who had was able to actually whisper the answer in your ear? So I'm just asking.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ron.
Very innocently.
Ron, I
here.
feel a little attacked here.
It was Anita.
That's right.
We ran the story earlier. Anita, remember we both really loved it because
It's beautiful.
I feel like we don't get these kind of clouds much, even in the monsoon.
Not
but,
this long.
Yeah. So that's a shelf cloud, and this, by the way, comes to us from Texas. I thought we've already hit our quota of Florida stories today.
Yes.
We had a lot of Florida stories
Gosh,
today.
yeah.
By the way,
right.
Paul Paglia in Florida says Chris Cato from Fox 13 Tampa has a whole segment that's called Only in Florida, and it's on gators.
Oh, good.
Our sister station in Tampa.
And
Were
that's
you
Fox
talking
13.
about?
Yeah.
Well, okay. There was
the
also a shark
the
attack
former,
in Tampa.
Yeah, the former NYPD officer
Yeah.
who handled a shark
The
or
cute- the
a
cute
gator.
officer.
for the
Gator at
first
the
time.
same time.
That was the best video.
He was
Yeah.
We should have a new nominate the best video of the month category.
Oh, I thought you were going to say nominate the best looking officer of the week
Okay,
category.
we can do that. Well,
Come on.
we've had some very handsome officers on. haven't
Best
we?
looking anchorman of the
Okay.
week.
Now,
Well, Ron
okay.
would win every single week.
Suddenly I'm on board. Okay, look, it's a busy morning, so we are going to bring Anita in right now. What's the game plan? We're standing by from the courthouse.
We are standing by from the courthouse, so if and when that verdict is read and comes down, we will toss to Justin Lum. We have Kenzie Beach out there as well, so we're going to let them take over some of that coverage.
Okay.
Justin, of course, is the expert in this Doomsday trial. Kenzie is going to be out there. They're going to be addressing the crowds, the media as well. So as soon as that comes down, we will bring that. But we have a couple of other things that we're talking about, some scams that are coming down.
Oh, boy.
I just
a lot,
got
right?
I just got one
literally
actually
just
on
now?
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
It's telling me I have Arizona Ministry of Communications final notice enforcement. It says I had a parking ticket.
Right.
I'm
The
like,
Ministry of Communications. That sounds. We need more government offices named the Ministry of.
yeah. So if you get that on
Whatever.
WhatsApp, no, it's spam. I just got it 5 minutes
Don't
ago.
pay it. So we're going to be talking about some tips and what to do if you get one of those, along with some other fun stuff. We'll see how much time we have today.
Excellent.
Have a
okay.
great day.
Bye, everybody.
All right, welcome on in. It is a very busy Thursday. As Anita mentioned in the last hour, we are awaiting the verdict to be read for Lori Vallow. That could come any minute now, and when we do, of course, Justin Lum and his team have been on top of this. I mean, they know the ins and outs of this case better than anyone.
Ongoing saga for years and years and years. This is her third trial, her second here in the Valley.
So again, that is expected to come down any minute now. And as soon as we get the alert, we of course will take over with Justin and he will kind of break down everything that's happening. But in the meantime, we thought we'd cover some news here, some other news besides what's happening with the Lori Vallow case. And we're talking about scam texts. I got one yesterday because I still have my Utah number. I haven't changed over to an Arizona number. So it came through.
So this is nationwide.
Yeah, saying that I had some tolls that needed to be paid.
And for those of you who have not joined us before, this is our boss babe. We like to call her Melanie, our executive producer.
Do you like that nickname, Boss Babe? Okay, good. I wish we had a super that said that, right?
Yeah. And as we were chatting in the newsroom, kind of planning for this, you said to me, I got a text.
Yeah. We were.
This is what it is right here.
Yep, this is the text I got. And it was funny because we were talking about this story. And, you know, we always talk about how our phones are listening. Like, you'll be talking about a store, you'll be talking about a trip you want to go on. All of a sudden, your Instagram feed is flooded with, you know, those places. Well, we were talking about the most recent scam, and in came a text, and it was this one from the Arizona Ministry of Communications,
which there is no such thing.
Which maybe if there was, we should work for, because, you know, we're in communications.
It kind of sounds like a Harry Potter, like something.
The ministry. I totally thought the same thing.
This is a very, very detailed text, because I've received one of those for the tolls, and that one just simply said, hey, you have an outstanding toll, and that was pretty much it.
But again, we don't have toll roads in Arizona.
But I'm from Illinois, though.
And
every once in a while when I go visit my parents, I take my dad's car out. So I'm thinking, maybe.
Well, if you look at number 4, they talk about a toll. So these people are not onto the Arizona. You don't get
way of life.
Yeah, that we don't have toll roads here, thankfully.
Well, this is kind of interesting because just today, the Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays warning consumers about an increase in just these texts impersonating government agencies. So scammers say that they have been working for ADOT, the United States Postal Service. So all the different kind of superior courts around the area are also saying that they've been getting these types of scams. People saying that they're late for jury duty. We did a story, was it yesterday?
Well, we received an email from one of our friends, our PIOs at ADOT, saying the same exact thing. So we were actually just corresponding with them. And hi, Linda. We have to say good morning to Linda. She says hello to all of us. I'm wondering if anyone at home has received any of these, because as we're chatting with Celeste and teasing, she said she received one on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So you just have to be really careful, because obviously if you click one of those links, who knows what it could do to your phone, A, and then B, it might be asking you for personal information. And some of these websites, they are so savvy, these bad guys, to make it look like a legit website.
Yeah. It's like they copy it and recreate it.
Yes.
So you think
this
you're
looks
on the
legit.
on the real site.
I get emails from like PayPal and eBay and saying thank you for your purchase. So I'll always send those to Johnny and be like, did we purchase something? Because I don't think we purchased
Well, and
anything.
I know when we've done these kind of stories before, the advice they always say is if you get an email and it's saying click a link, don't click the link. Go to the actual website. So if you get something from a bank, don't click the link. Go to whatever your bank is, their actual website or app.
From the Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, ignore messages from unknown numbers. Never click links. Do not respond. She's saying just completely
And
done with it.
This is kind of interesting because I didn't think of this. She says, do not respond, even if it says text the word stop. She says, don't even do that. Don't even
really?
acknowledge or
Okay.
I guess interact at all
Just
with
delete.
that. Just delete it and get out of there.
Basically that is key. If you have any questions, just call the department directly yourself. So
yeah.
Okay, we are just waiting for this verdict
Mel,
to
I'm
come
glad
down.
you didn't get scammed.
I know. I try. Well, and the other thing, it was an international number, so that's always
Yeah,
kind of a tip off.
I got one. It was like a +63 was the country
Yeah, Linda
code.
actually just said that. She says,
Yes.
I got one this morning from +63 country area, which I think is the Philippines. And Angela says, also look at the logo because they usually use a different logo. Oh, I think she's talking about that PayPal.
Yeah.
Yes, Angela, it totally looks different. Like it's almost distorted. So, and then Brandy, we were talking about this. Brandy E says there are so many seniors who have fallen for these types of scams.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And unfortunately, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, they get rattled. You get nervous. You get,
well, you don't want to
scared,
fine.
And
you don't want to
your brain's
fine.
not working.
Yeah.
Working right.
Delete, says Husky Mom.
All right, let's talk about tipping. Are you a good tipper when you go to a restaurant,
It
Anita?
depends. It depends on the service.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I'm a straight 20-something%.
I worked in a restaurant.
So
and,
you know.
And even if the service isn't the best, just, you know what, I'm not going to be the person that ruins their day. I've had those customers, and I'm not going to be that person.
We'll always give at least 15 or 20 because I think that's what you should do. But if it's really good service, we'll always leave extra.
I just was at one of my favorite restaurants that I go to quite a bit, and I noticed that when they hand you the little thing, they've now kind of upped it because it used to be like 15, 20.
Yeah, now it's
15,
like
18.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I think it starts at 18. It was like 18 something, and then the biggest one that you could leave was like the 22%. So I was like, man, you don't want to go back in. And So we were talking about this because I thought this was interesting. Axios kind of compiled some information about the best tippers out there. Can you guys guess which state might have been the best tippers?
New York.
What state always has the friendliest people? Minnesota?
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so I thought this was really interesting. Listen to this. Delaware, West Virginia, and New Hampshire are home to America's best tippers, leaving on average 21% or better. On the other hand, California, Washington State were the worst tippers with about 18%. And then guess where Arizona landed?
43.
Give me a percentage of what you think we do.
17.
How much we leave?
Yeah. 19.2%.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Brandy E is asking, do you tip at a place like Sonic?
Okay, Anita, we're getting the information that the verdict is about to be read.
Folks.
So we're gonna switch things over, toss it over to Justin and his team. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Whether or not those aggravators are proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
I do understand that.
I'll reach out to our extraditions.
All right. So we will be at recess. All right. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, he's not here.
I don't think it's on our end.
No,
I think it's everything that's going on in the
there's
courtroom.
some technical difficulties.
Although they can turn the music down though.
Oh, see, I don't have IFB, so I can't hear. Or else I can
There's some loud music going on in here.
Wait, is it like court music like the?
No, it's like
it's just our dramatic music that we play. We will
There we
be
go.
eventually heading back to the courtroom to get this verdict when it is being read. But
That was
they
a,
just
that
have
was a
some
dress
technical-
rehearsal for us.
So one thing I want to say about the tipping,
Uh-huh.
you said California and Washington are the worst.
Yeah.
I think those are states that also have the highest minimum wages.
Oh, there you go.
And so I don't know.
Look, okay,
if
this
I
is why we
agree.
bring in the producer
I
because
don't
she
know.
knows
Yeah.
all these things.
I don't know if those are states where they don't have like the minimum wage. You can't do like how a lot of for tipping jobs the minimum wage is lower.
Right.
I don't know for sure, but in those states, you may not be able to pay tipped people below the minimum wage.
Yeah.
And so if people know that they're getting the minimum wage, they may be less generous with tips.
Okay.
Good
Mel,
point. And
sorry.
we are going to head back into the courtroom. Sorry about that, folks.
Your Honor, is that more than 30 days? Doesn't it have to be within 30 days?
It is more than 30 days.
we do have people flying in, they would prefer a Friday. I don't know if August 1st.
I can also do it Friday, July 25th.
Just like 25th. I know that's close on a couple of their schedules. Let me just make sure they're able to fly here. Your Honor, the 25th of July would also work.
All right. Does the defendant want to be heard on a sentencing date?
Do I want to be heard?
On a sentencing date, yeah.
Do I want to speak on sentencing day?
No,
Is that what you're asking me?
Do you want to be heard on what
The
date?
timing?
Yeah, what date I should set this for?
Yes, I would like it to be within 30 days, if possible.
All right. The soonest available is July 25th. I'll set it from 9 a.m. to noon, just to be safe, on July 25th in this same courtroom. Anything else?
Can you do anything about the timing of me being transported after that?
Actually, I would like the county attorney and/or the sheriff's office. I don't know if I need to make specific orders on the record regarding transferring back to Idaho. I don't know what the interstate agreement was on having her transported here.
It was immediately after, but I think they have up to 30 days to pick me up. That's why I wanted the sentencing to be moved up, because they still have 30 days after that.
Okay.
If there's something you can do about that.
I guess what I'm requesting from any party, either side or the sheriff's office, is what particular language people are looking for in order to accomplish that transfer.
I will reach out to our extraditions.
All right. All right. So we will be at recess. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, he's not here.
All right, I'm going to keep an eye on that.
All right, you are looking at Lori Daybell in the courtroom, just convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. She walks out of the courtroom. We may have shown you this earlier after the 5-minute delay. Here's
I think we'll see her leave Arizona certainly by mid-August.
And now we are just looking out to see if jurors come out and talk to us about how this was such a quick deliberation. Judge Mel, what's going through your mind? What would you ask a juror?
I would ask the juror what how the process went where there was that quick of a jury verdict. I think I would ask him, what were your feelings about the presentation? What were the positives and the negatives that you saw in the case? I'd be interested in their observation of Lori representing herself and the way she handled herself. Whether they would speak to that, I don't know. But yeah, by the time you select your foreman, I've got a feeling they took a straw vote. They raised their hands, unanimous. Is there anything to discuss? No. And all right, let's report back to the court. We've got a verdict.
Benjamin?
I mean, your team in the first trial, they were able to interview one of the jurors. I remember one of the male jurors was like, I was confused. I almost voted, not guilty or maybe hung. I remember the first trial you guys did that. So for this trial, I think I agree with Judge Mel. Like, what were you thinking of Lori? What did you think about, Trina Kay's, the prosecutor's arguments, and what did you even discuss? And why did you go home yesterday? I'm still wondering, why did they go home yesterday when they had the verdict around 3 o'clock, or they had the case around 3 o'clock, and they could have just talked amongst themselves and got it done yesterday. So what made them want to, take another shower, get dressed, fight the traffic to come back this morning?
I think that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Because go ahead, Rich.
Well, I was going to say I would want to know about whether they were aware of what was going on with the Charles Vallow and the kids' murders and all that kind of stuff. Presumably they didn't. So if those questions get asked about in the little press conference, if any of them talk, that's going to, in theory, be the first time they hear about it. That their reaction to that could be entertaining. But if I had this case as an investigator in post-conviction after her appeals and stuff, one of the things I'd be looking for is whether there was jury misconduct.
Right.
In terms of looking at whether or not they had done any independent research. Was this verdict influenced by knowledge of the prior cases? In theory, she should be asking for a new trial within the next 10 days. That's the time when we typically do these kinds of research into jury misconduct. But because she's representing herself, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, we saw that obviously at the end of the last trial. There was some confusion about a juror who spoke and kind of what they meant about, 3 life sentences or, the 3 other crimes, that kind of thing. I think there were a lot of online people who kind of read into what he said a little bit more than I think what he meant. We obviously spoke to him, but it was clear from the jurors that we spoke to that none of them had really any knowledge of this overarching kind of saga. In fact, one of the jurors has now was even, I think, at the court on opening arguments. So some of the jurors who didn't know anything in the last trial certainly learned enough after and were so kind of intrigued by this that they wanted to kind of follow closely on this case. Let me ask you from a juror's perspective, and I feel like for somebody like me, it's obviously easy. I work in this business. Talking to the media is just kind of, it's a no-brainer. But from a juror's perspective, do you find that it's more difficult to get them to talk? Specifically, obviously, in a high-profile case like this, to getting them to talk about what went on behind the scenes, because it's not a privacy thing. But there's so many people that want to get a window into that world and what it takes. I'm just curious from your experience, Ben. I'll start with you. Do you notice that jurors have any issue with kind of opening up about what the process is on a case, especially maybe in your cases?
Yes, I think in high-profile cases, jurors do want to talk because they know it's a high-profile case, right? And there's a possibility for jurors to even write a book in the future if they want to. In normal everyday cases, usually those jurors are trying to get home and they get in their car and they go home as soon as they can. So that's very unique. And this is the thing about after the case is over, you can talk to the jurors, meaning Lori Vallow, in a normal case, the attorneys would go back in the back and talk to the jurors. And the prosecutor would go back in the back and the judge would be there. And you're in the judge's chambers and you're asking questions and they get to know you. I don't know if this is going to happen in this type of case because she's representing herself. But it'd be curious if her advisory council, if they were allowed to go back in the back to talk to the jurors, or even Lori. I doubt the judge would let Lori go back there because she's in custody. But normally you go back there and talk. And sometimes the jurors are willing to be open and some jurors just want to go home and they will ignore you.
Hey, let's no audio yet. Okay, let's take. I think we have the refeed. I'm hoping we're going to try this.
We do. So they're
23 REM 23.
Right, REM 23. It looks like it's frozen now. They usually will put that up, warn stations, to be ready to roll. We're already rolling, but they're going to refeed here in just a moment. Everything that was shot.
I see movement though, so stand by, or should we just let's take it right now and talk over it? See what we get here. Lori Daybell sitting at the seat. This is right at 10:59:56 in real time. So about 20 minutes ago. All right, here we go. Judge Boreski coming to the bench. Let's do this.
I don't hear any audio.
Well,
so that's
be
another issue. And the video is one thing, the audio is the other.
Oh, court TV.
We.
So maybe we'll get this to the viewers in pieces. We got them the sentencing, and we'll get them the verdict without audio. Then we'll do it with audio.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you're getting a look at what went on. We're still figuring that out there, and we're also watching the courthouse steps right now. Is there audio? You guys see? Nope, not audio yet. All right. Looking at the courthouse steps, waiting for Brandon Boudreaux to come out. Now, he's probably still talking to the prosecution, thanking them for everything, and it's been a long ordeal. We appreciate all of you watching with us, 1,600 of you staying patient with this. Trust me, this is an issue that was all over the place. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but, we prepared. We were ready to take the feed. Okay, let's go back to us, and we'll wait till we get that figured out. So we're basically waiting on them to refeed this correctly, right?
Yeah, and I think they just realized that they were feeding with no audio, so now they'll re-rack and start it again. I do. We do again. We have a camera outside the courtroom now. Still a lot of media interest in this. Everybody kind of waiting to hear not only from the family. You mentioned it. Brandon Boudreaux is expected to make a statement. We expect Kay Woodcock obviously to. Be asked about her feelings on this. This will, again, outside of the penalty phase, this I think will be interesting. I wonder how long they'll stay around, Kay, whether she'll see this through to the penalty portion of this. This is, we've talked a lot about dates. You and I have discussed, the other day, in fact, when it was the 5-year anniversary of Tylee and JJ's remains being found on the property in Idaho. I wonder, though, Rachel, you could shed light on this. This is still, I would imagine, pretty high interest for folks in Idaho, even though we're talking about a case that's specific to Arizona. I would imagine, and our viewers have kind of checked in from all over the world, but this is, I think, still of high interest for those that are still connected to this case in Idaho.
Yeah, I am not in Idaho most of the time, but I still have a case or two back there. Even the last time I was in Idaho, I came in, I checked in, and the people at the front desk, asked me if there was anything going on in Lori's case. Why was I there? So, and that's, a couple of years after the conviction. So yeah, that is a tight community, those two counties. They felt the missing nature of the children and the loss of those children and Tammy deeply. And I think it's going to resonate for a long time there. So while this is satisfying and helpful, two counties and a community that was really hurt by Lori Vallow and Chad. And I think it's going to take them a long time to heal.
Yeah, all right. Let's look at the live shot of the courthouse steps. We're just going to stay there for a little bit, Brian, as we get ready for this. Oh, there's the courthouse, the South Court Tower. Yeah, Brandon Boudreaux, a long journey for him. And then I think Kay Woodcock will be speaking as well. Kay Woodcock has testified in 3 trials, and I think this was a relief for her to be able to watch this from this point of view and support Brandon. Okay, Max, our photographer's like, live streaming. You guys are getting a great look at it, and we are just waiting for this verdict to be read. It looks like people may be speaking. I know it's like to follow him. Let's follow Max. I'm waiting for someone.
Are you good to go?
Yep. Okay, never mind. Let's not follow Max. Let's take that audio off.
I thought that was a Nike ad for a minute with those shoes.
Okay, we got the advisory council. Hey. There you go.
Working with Lori Vallow.
They're not going to speak.
Go, Max, go. Robert Abernethy, Pamela Hicks, the advisory council.
Well, we know what it was like working with Lori Vallow. They're out of there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get off that shot.
To work on any sort of
Oh, getting some audio though. Never mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Benjamin, how would you have handled that? Well, you would give us a little bit of a comment. I know you. You would say something.
I would give comment, but this a little bit disclosure. I mean, I know the advisory council people. This throughout the years, you see a lot of people in the courthouse all the time, and they're actually really great attorneys, really good people. And if they had a chance, an opportunity to actually do the case, they probably would have probably done a lot better job than Lori. But in that situation, yes. I mean, I'm allowed to talk. I'm a private attorney, so I can talk and I can say stuff. But when you work in the public defender's office, you're not allowed to.
Thanks, Benjamin. This is Tosh, former juror, in the last trial.
But me, what it was
take a
like
listen.
to what they were going through right now, So being able to feel what they felt, not knowing anything.
The truth is that hatred, selfishness, and greed almost
almost led to the end of my life. 12 strangers verified that Lori must be held accountable. I have heard the question asked, why hold this trial? She already has multiple life sentences. My response is simple. We owe it to those who are victimized and choose to follow the law to uphold justice on their behalf. So many victims never get this day. So I thank the judge and the jury who willingly put their lives on hold to complete this process. I did not enjoy sitting and giving someone who tried to kill me the chance to question me, but I owed it to Charles, to Tylee, to JJ, and to Tammy to speak because I could. I don't know the statistics of how many people never get the chance because they were killed or because we can't find the people who committed the crime. But we as a society owe it to them to move forward with prosecuting those who commit violent crimes. I've chosen in my life to be and live as a man who believes in Jesus Christ and in God. So I view my life from this lens. I heard this in this trial about loving everyone. I support to help me move forward and create beauty from the ashes. The first is from Viktor Frankl. He taught there's a space in life between stimulus and response where we can choose and have freedom. It is okay to feel hatred, anger, passion, and a myriad of other feelings when life's stimulus are unexpected or unfair or both. But true freedom comes from mastering our ability to respond in our actions independent of the stimulus, to choose who we will be and to act and not to be acted upon. Secondly, I believe every human being is a child of God and has immeasurable worth. Hating a person can be like a poison to our souls. It can take away our joy and our happiness. I believe we can have enmity towards someone's actions or choices while still forgiving them for our own selves, to have more room for love and happiness and joy. Truly living this principle is a process. It takes time. But as we apply these two principles, that of choice before response and forgiveness and love and valuing others as oneself, I believe that it makes our society better. So thank you for coming and supporting me in this, for all of you who have. And we're grateful today for those who let us have our due process. So,
Brandon, would you say you've forgiven Lori?
It's a process. I will do my best. It's something that I believe if you give away your hatred to the Savior, I would tell you that there is more room for joy and love for your family, for your friends, for those who do love you. So that's the best I can share.
Brandon, do you believe Melanie should be charged in this case?
I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I appreciate the question.
What did you think that the jury came back less than 30 minutes?
I'm grateful that they did their responsibility, and I'm grateful for a verdict.
Brandon, where do you go from here?
I'll continue moving forward with my life. I have a beautiful wife. I have wonderful family. I have so much wonderful family that's waiting back there. I'll go back to anonymity, hopefully, and just live my life and be another person who tries to do the right thing in the right situation. And I want to say thank you to all the people who did the right thing, who came in, who gave up their time and participated in the process. There's a lot of people who don't get any thank yous that give up their time, and so I just want them to know I'm grateful.
Jenny, anything you want?
I am grateful that I am standing next to this man right now.
Thank you,
Grateful
guys.
that he's here.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Katie, do you want to say anything?
No, I'm good. Colby, I'm good. I'm calling
Oh, wow.
Thank you, guys.
That is a powerful moment right there as you see Brandon Boudreaux and his wife, Kay Woodcock, Colby Ryan, walk back up the steps to the courthouse. Really, this is a moment of justice, closure, victory for a family that has just been nearly destroyed over the past 5 years. He was almost killed. It took a few inches of difference, a bullet hitting his Tesla on October 2nd, 2019. And at the time, he already knew that something was very wrong. He went to get help immediately. He sought answers. He teamed up with Kay Woodcock to find those answers. And let's go to our panel right now. Rich Robertson, I got to ask you, seeing that, closure for you as well, being there from the beginning, seeing Brandon, mature as a husband, a father, a man, and going up to saying that he's in the process of forgiveness.
Yeah, it was powerful. He's kind of the Brandon that I have come to know, thoughtful, introspective, emotional. The PTSD is clear from the near-death experience. Always looking forward to where things go from here. I mean, this would be a powerful statement to be made at Lori's sentencing. I suspect it's going to be some version of that when he addresses the court at that time. He pretty well summed up everything that I think all of that family has gone through.
Rachel, your thoughts?
Nope.
Unmute.
The Brandon that spoke is the Brandon that worked with the team in Idaho and that assisted law enforcement, not just about his own case, but about working for justice for everybody. And so his statement is particularly and encapsulates the lives that were taken and the vast number of people that Chad and Lori harmed. And so it's hard not to be moved by that. And it's hard not to be humbled by watching somebody who nearly lost everything stand up and go through this process and do it with dignity and grace and compassion. So it's a powerful statement out of Brandon Boudreaux, and I'm grateful to Maricopa County and the law enforcement in Arizona that they didn't just chalk it up as one more case and move on, that they gave him that opportunity to be heard.
Okay, and we're just getting ready to play that verdict reading for you all in just a little bit. Obi and Glenn will keep tabs on that, and we'll make sure that we'll have that for you shortly. Benjamin Taylor, your thoughts on what happens next? Obviously, some people ask why sentencing doesn't happen the same day, but there's a little bit of a gap.
Yes, usually sentencing is within 30 days. And a lot of times the reason why, because they do what's called a pre-sentence report. So somebody will go out there and a probation officer will go out there and talk to Lori, get her side, get her recommendation. The state, the prosecutor will make a recommendation, and ultimately the judge looks at all the recommendations from the defense, from family members, victims. So it takes a while to coordinate all this. So that's why it takes 30 days for sentencing. I think in this type of case, if they really wanted to, they could probably sentence her today. But in normal cases, and basically the judge wants to give everybody time to be able to prepare for sentencing. Because there's aggravating factors, there's mitigating factors, and you want to just, give everybody a fair chance. And basically notify the dates. As you heard, July 26th is sentencing, so now everybody knows and can prepare for it. It gives them a whole month to prepare.
All right. We have it. Let's listen to the verdict.
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
Let's come back out. All right, little bit of a technical difficulty there. I swear we are going to get that to you. That was the verdict from last trial. Because once I heard July 11th, it has been a day. We're going to get, but we know how it sounds. It is the same answer, guilty. We are going to get that to you in just a little bit. They're handling it right now. Judge Mel, your thoughts?
Well, I'm wondering if Lori Daybell is controlling these feedbacks. Let me share a thought. In the last, during the Vallow trial, I've made a comment from a prosecution standpoint that there's nothing more that can be done to Lori Daybell. She was looking at life sentences in Idaho. She was looking at a life sentence in Arizona without parole. And from a prosecution standpoint, I'm sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, from a prosecution standpoint, you could see an argument. That said, I am really grateful that they went forward. I think Brandon Boudreaux was a key person in this case. And even though the sentence will not affect Lori either way, she's going to get life without parole, and it will be stacked on everything else. I think it was important for Brandon's message to be heard, for the other people to be heard. I have been so impressed with Brandon Boudreaux, his humility, and I think when he testified, I think that genuine love that he has in his heart shined through. So I'm grateful it went forward. I'm not surprised hearing the quick result, a little quicker than I thought, but I think it's an outstanding result.
All right, we have the verdict in the Brandon Boudreaux case. Let's hear it.
All right, the clerk will read and record the verdict.
In the Superior Court of the State of Arizona, in and for the County of Maricopa, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2022-00-1242001. Verdict count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about October 2nd, 2019, as follows. Guilty. Signed, foreperson. Are these your true verdicts, so say you one and all?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, on the court's own motion, I'll ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 2, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 4, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 5, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 8, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 9, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 12, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 13, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 14, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 15, is this your true verdict? Yes.
All right, members of the jury, I'm going to excuse you at this time.
And there it is, the guilty verdict in the final chapter for Lori Daybell. You look at her demeanor, her mannerisms, obviously Lori's upset. And I wouldn't be surprised if she speaks about this publicly. She has done a couple of interviews, and she believes that Judge Boreski has been biased against her this whole time. But, you know, we've watched this trial. What do you guys take from her mannerisms? Rachel, you've seen her in court. I'm sure you're not surprised at how she handles these things. And really, there has been lack of remorse to all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Lori being her own lawyer, acting in this way has really put to rest some of the issues that existed up in Idaho, which was, maybe she's not competent, maybe she's mentally ill. All along, at least I, as part of the team, I just knew that Lori was so profoundly self-absorbed that she couldn't hold it together in a case like this. So her attitude, her demeanor is really reflective of the Lori that caused the death of multiple people.
I don't know if we're. Go ahead.
Justin,
go ahead.
Can you interview her? And could we be a panel for you? Like, we won't do the interview, but we would do commentary. Will she let you interview her?
No, she won't. Have I told you this story? So she took my
No.
money back in 2020 when she was in the Madison County Jail. So you remember when they used the Telmate app. And
Yeah.
you add the person, the inmate, through the app. And so this was 2020, and she had been taken into custody. This was just the child abandonment charges at the time.
Right.
It hasn't. I don't think the kids had not been discovered yet. It was before June, and so she adds me, and I'm like, okay, I have a chance here. And then you set up a time for the appointment for the call, and so I do that. And you have to put in some money for the call, and so I do that. I put about $15. It was accepted, and all of a sudden, I have been blocked. So I guess I was deemed a dark spirit, and totally cut off the communication with me after that. And so she still owes me $15, but she owes everyone a lot more. I've tried through MCSO a few times, and she declined or just did not respond. And maybe she took this as a jab, but after Chad Daybell was sentenced to death, I reached out to MCSO and I said, "Does Lori have any comment on her husband being sentenced to the death penalty?" Nothing. And then obviously, she's done a couple of interviews, but has not chosen me or Nate Eden to talk with about this case, and I can understand why. But I've always wanted to ask the big question: is why? What led you to do this? But being that she will never take accountability and never admit what she did or what she's been convicted of, it's sort of pointless. And the way I've seen her skirt around questions. It's just. It doesn't help the victims who I take more pride in being able to talk to someone like Kay Woodcock, or if I get to talk to Brandon Boudreaux face to face on camera for an in-depth interview, because these people were the ones that were instrumental in getting justice. Or if I talk to a prosecutor like yourself, someone on the team, or a detective, someone that investigated this case, those are the people with the truth. And in this case, I don't think you ever get the truth from Lori. What do you think, Rich?
Well, I was going to ask Rachel, actually, based on her experience with all of this, whether she thinks that Lori really, truly believes she was either completely innocent of all of this or justified in some way. Is she so self-absorbed, so delusional, not from a psychotic state, but as she convinced herself that she actually did not do this stuff?
I don't. I think she really thinks she was justified. I think she was entitled. I think she really thought she was smart enough to get away with it all. She had such confidence in her and Chad and their ability to manipulate and control things that I don't think that she thought she was innocent. I thought she believed she was entitled.
I want to add one of the things that blew me away last night. I saw an interview that was tape recorded with her birth son, who confronted her in the jail about the murder of his brother and his sister and father. It was bone chilling to me. Your listeners out there, you need to listen to that interview. She is cold-hearted, callous. She lies through her teeth, trying to cover up when her kids are dead, saying the kids are staying with somebody in Arizona. Every part of her, I think, is evil. And that interview really powerfully brought it home. I guess it was played in one of the Idaho proceedings, but it was chilling. Her own son saying, "Mother, you're lying to me. Why don't you tell me the truth?" And she lied all the way through this, lied about the whereabouts of the kids. She knows what she's doing. And I think some people, she's a sociopath. She has no conscience. And she deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison.
Yeah, I agree, Judge Mel. I have done cases with people who have true delusions and they don't switch their delusions. They don't modify their conclusions to sell themselves. And so she modifies the version of the story she's telling depending on which audience she has and what she thinks they'll agree to. And that's not the sign. That is the sign of somebody who actually knows what happened and is trying to talk their way around and out of it. People who are truly delusional, they have a narrative and they kind of stick to it. And they stick to it because that's what they believe. So Lori knows what she did was a violation of law. She just thought she could get away with it. And she thought she was entitled to do it.
Well, guys, we have 3,200 people watching right now, so we appreciate you staying on and talking to us. We do have Dave Cam ready. Dave, we've got a question from the chat box. Make sure to ask your questions. You guys have been doing a great job of it. We'll choose some of them and we'll ask the panel.
Yes, we have a great question from Nadine McFarland. This is for Justin, but for everybody probably. Will you follow if if Melanie, the niece, gets arrested on this or her case?
You can bet I'll be following it if Melanie is charged in any way in this case. Will there be an arrest? I don't think that would be the case. There would have to be a grand jury indictment, right, guys? And then she would appear for an arraignment and plead not guilty, but sort of a long-form charge. We talked about this earlier, right? Like if there would have been a charge filed, it would have happened some time ago. But really, Trina K made everyone's ears perk up, right, Mel?
Yes. Yeah, mine sure perked up. I agree. I think Rachel pointed out earlier today, it could happen now, but so much time has gone by that and it would have made sense to probably have her a part of the conspiracy case if it was going to, at least to have her charged. So I suspect while it could happen, I'd be surprised if it does at this stage.
Benjamin, what do you think?
I mean, right now, Justin, your thing says the final chapter, right? If Melanie is charged, you're going to have to, keep the book going and have a sequel because it might not be the final chapter. It might be the final chapter for Lori, of course, but the story might not be ending. I mean, Trina K did mention it, but I kind of agree with, what Rachel said, what Judge Mel said earlier. She probably would have been charged a long time ago, but who knows? I mean, this is a high-profile case, and if new evidence comes out, and she has to charge her if new evidence comes out that does show that she was part of this. So who knows what else might come out, but I'm kind of on the fence here. I mean, I think she might not get charged because it's been so long, but who knows what the future holds for us.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out, obviously, to Dave, to Glenn, our director, working hard back there. We're all kind of shuffling things around. Glenn, if you have a moment, bite one in our thought folder. I want to show the audience here. I was just listening to the presser, if you will, the comments that were made by Kay and Brandon after the verdict outside court. One of the things, and we're going to play this bite in just a moment, one of the things that really stuck out was you had Colby, you had Kay, and you had Brandon all standing together, and you'll hear them say, look, we're all standing here united. And I think, these are the kinds of things that bring, family members who may not have communicated, as closely as maybe they could have over the years. And unfortunately, a tragedy like this brings them together. But Glenn played this bite, Brandon getting really emotional, reacting to the moment that he heard the verdict in the case against Lori. Take a listen.
My statement is as follows. 2,078 days. I'm humbled. I can't even imagine how many hours have been spent by law enforcement and prosecutors tirelessly working to uncover the truth. The truth is that hatred selfishness, and greed almost led to the end of my life. 12 strangers verified that Lori must be held accountable. I have heard the question asked, why hold this trial? She already has multiple life sentences. My response is simple. We owe it to those who are victimized and choose to follow the law to uphold justice on their behalf. So many victims never get this day. So I thank the judge and the jury who willingly put their lives on hold to complete this process. I did not enjoy sitting and giving someone who tried to kill me the chance to question me, but I owed it to Charles, to Tylee, to JJ, and to Tammy to speak because I could. I don't know the statistics of how many people never get the chance because they were killed or because we can't find the people who committed the crime. But we as a society owe it to them to move forward with prosecuting those who commit violent crimes.
All right, now we got questions coming in. Dave, we got one about being a prosecutor. I think, Rachel could answer this one.
Yeah, great question from Hiding in Bev's Bangs. How does Rachel like the prosecutor being in her presence and remaining calm and focused?
I think she's frozen. Oh, Rachel's frozen.
Oh, Rachel is frozen. Let's ask the judge. He's done it all.
What's the question again?
It's how does anyone like the prosecutor being in her presence and remaining calm and focused?
I think that's the secret to her effectiveness. To not get rattled, to be very compelling but emotional, speak with commitment, look the jury in the eye, and carefully lay out the case as she did. That's what made it so effective, and the very effectiveness she had, we didn't find in Lori. Trying to interject things that she knew couldn't come in the case, all of the games that she tried to play. But that's the sign, that's the mark of an effective prosecutor, to have the case organized, to lay it out, to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and then with emotion to persuade the jury to do your duty and to convict the person for the crime that they committed.
All right. Hey, with that said, I want us to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Rachel had to leave for the day. If you guys, panel, if you need to get out of here, I thank you so much for your time. We're going to take a quick break as we get things in order. We hope to take Kenzie Beach with Fox 10 after this, talk about what went on outside the courthouse, the vibe of it all, maybe get some other special guests on the phone as well. But everyone watching, we'll be right back.
But we can remember certainly those events of the late 80s.
It's a president who really made a mark on this world, and that's today's